What's up, family? Welcome to the Community Corner, where we talk about various topics within the urban community. We specialize in urban public health, urban education, health education, education policy, and creative arts. I'm the Executive Director at the Urban Health Collaborative, and I want to personally thank you for tuning into our podcast. This podcast was produced by our very own interns and our team. If you don't know who we are a public health nonprofit that focuses on building capacity and educating community members on preventable health issues and teach them ways to prevent them as well as improve their health and overall well-being. The world is becoming urbanized, so we are hopefully trying to set the trend and be a model for communities to build within and create self-healing. One conversation, one community member at a time. Thank you. I'm here today with Bara Elhag. He has a master's in biomedical science. He is an aspiring physician. He works in the medical field. He also has extensive research experience through Rutgers University, and he is a man of his deed.
Hi, I'm Vanessa Hatton. I'm a second year student in social psychology at Rutgers.
Yeah, so our topic of the day is, none other than school year.
I don't know if I've had a more difficult semester, man.
Why you say that?
I think a lot of people underestimate, when you set a goal for yourself, you're like, yeah, I'm going to be working every week. I'm going to be also doing my studies. I can manage 15 credits. I can manage, a job. I can do all these different things. But it's a totally different thing when you're doing it in real life. You know what I mean?
So it's a lot harder than you thought it would be?
For sure. I mean, I think I gave myself a really high bar to stand up to, man.
I'm like half excited, half nervous, a little stressed. Second year has already proven to be a little more daunting than last year. So, a little stressed, but nothing I can't tackle.
All of a sudden, every week I was like, should I sleep or should I eat or should I study? You know what I mean? When you're making decisions whether you should be doing sleeping or eating, that's a tough situation.
Yo, I could relate, man. Cause I was grad school, work, and trying to have a social life. It's hard because people don't tell you how hard it is. They tell you, oh, it's hard, but you can do it. But they don't tell you how hard it really is, or it's just no way to comprehend how stressful it is.
Yeah.
Some nights I was sitting there and bro, is this real life? Is it really 3 a.m? And I just finished my homework and I have to go to work tomorrow. Didn't have class, but at the end of the day, you just gotta embrace the struggle. It's not made for everybody, but the people who can do it and excel.
Even during my master's, I was working full-time research assistant during the week. I was doing research during the week for 35, 40 hours a week. Then I did AB on the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So, cause I needed money, I'm doing this by myself. So applied behavior analysis, working with students and kids on the spectrum. Okay. So it was I was busting my butt.
This year I have to tackle my master's thesis. So yeah.
Well, explain what does that mean? What is a master's thesis? Okay. How is that different from any other thesis?
Okay. Yeah. So I came into this program straight from undergrad, which means I don't have a master's.
And she's smart.
Thank you. I don't have a master's, so I have to earn it along the way in the PhD program. So usually that means my proposal is due by the third semester of my school year, or of my experience here, my years here. By the end of the third semester, I have to have my master's proposal in, which is the end of this year. And so the proposals I've seen from this department are usually about 30 pages long.
Single or double-spaced?
I think double-spaced. Either way, it's pretty long. So yeah, 30 pages of me proposing an experiment that I'd like to do. So the experiment I really care about, but
you're stressed.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's I feel stuff like that is pressure. Not from anybody else, pressure from you. Because number one, you're here, there's that being here. Number one is damn, I'm here. So what do I do? It's
yeah, and there's a lot of people in the department kind of push you off the cliff, so to speak, as far as learning how to do research. So research is very independent, and it's kind of like I'm getting paid to fail at it and figure it out, which is scary.
Have you had one of those nights yet where, you know, you're studying, you think you finished studying, like, bro, I have a whole another chapter to do?
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's really, what's the word I'm trying to use? Not hard, it's just,
It's unnerving, bro.
yeah.
It's unnerving.
Because you know at the end of the day, if you don't get this good grade,
Yeah.
no matter like what you know, no matter like blah blah blah, whatever it is, you're not gonna be good enough for that next
Exactly.
level. Even if you are, but your grades matter so much.
I mean, the schooling system is set up in a way, bro, where like it really isn't about knowledge, you know.
It's not.
It really
It's
isn't
really
about
not.
knowledge. It's really just about how good of you just gotta scheme the system.
Yeah.
How good of a schemer you are.
Yeah.
Can you get to that point where like you know like you're studying the right type of stuff. You're studying the right way of studying. I know people who study half the time that I studied and got like pretty much the same grades, if not better.
Yeah.
You know, so you gotta know how to study. And then not only that, you also have to know like how to take exams, how to be in that mentality. Like you can't really freeze up. It's so much.
It's hard. It's like
so much.
it's like a mind game because
Yeah.
I remember like some nights, even undergrad, but like grad school even more. I was just sitting there, just contemplating like, yo, am I really doing this? Like, is this really for me right now? Like, am I really like? Why do I feel like death? But it's like, but it's I don't know. You just gotta. It's not. You have to just love it because at the end of the day, when you're like, you know, you're a doctor and you're like at that level you want to be, it's gonna be like you look back and like, oh, it wasn't that bad.
For sure.
You know? But like when you're doing it, it's like, bro, like,
For sure.
and you're hungry, like, cause some nights it's like, yo, do I, like you said, do I eat or do I study? Do I sleep or do I study?
You really gotta be there almost all the time. You gotta be living in that library. You gotta be living in that cubicle or whatever it is that you want to study. You want to take a break, you could go eat. You know what I mean? That's a break.
Yeah,
You want to take the break, go take a shower, and spend a little extra
go to the
time.
bathroom.
You know what I mean? That's your break, bro.
I didn't realize what it was. Like, I didn't realize what it was until, like, I knew what it was. Like,
Yeah.
it was like that. Like, it, like, literally smacked me. Like, it was one final after another, and just, like, next. I'm like, wow, this is really happening. Like, this is really, like, happening right now. But
As soon as you're in it, you're just like your mind is just in a different place.
it's like mush. It goes mush after a while. And it's like,
you start dying.
yeah, like, you don't even feel like watching TV or, like, watching, like, a movie. Or you
No,
just want to,
no.
like,
No.
just chill. Like I remember some days I would just come home. Like other times, you know, if I'm not studying or I mean, if I have like a little room to breathe, I would just sit there and just blank.
For real,
Just
bro. I'm not
sit
even
there
gonna
trying
lie
to
to you. Yo, like, it really changed me as a person, bro. Like, yo, I'm not even gonna lie. Yo, this month of December, I don't even know who I was. Bro.
Yo,
Like the way I would talk to people was different. I was like mean sometimes for no reason.
it makes you angry.
I would snap at people. Like yo, people be asking me random questions. I'd be snapping, bro, like right away for no reason.
It
Like,
makes you like it just makes you like
tense, bro.
mad.
Yeah. Even when I was taking breaks, yo, I took a break, yo. I remember I took a break. I won't forget this, bro. I was with like 4 or 5 of my friends from like MSA. Shout out to MSA kids, yo.
What's up?
You seen, you know who it is. But for real, yo. But I was taking a break. I won't forget, bro. I was in Henry's Diner, and I was eating.
Popping.
Right, I was eating my
Popping,
food.
yo,
Food is
Henry's
banging, bro.
popping. Shout out to
Amazing food.
Henry's.
Fags, yo. And they accept swipes now too. So but but nah, for real, yo. That food is good, and I'm chilling. I'm eating my food. I'm enjoying my time. I'm making jokes. All of a sudden, bro, out of nowhere, a ray of guilt snaps into my life.
It hit you, right?
Bro, I'm just sitting
Hit
there.
you.
I'm eating my chicken, and it's good. And all of a sudden, bro, I just bite down like, what in the hell just happened? And I'm just like, yo, I really got 2 more chapters to study. There's only a week left of this exam. I still haven't started this. And bro, for the rest of the meal, bro, I literally was not talking. I wasn't doing. I was just sitting there, like my brain was just. I couldn't even see anyone anymore. It was just like, yo, I gotta go do this.
It's just not fun to fail. I don't think anyone in this department enjoys it, so I don't want, for example, my research experiments to be null, or my hypotheses to be incorrect, or to be bad at it. I just don't want to be bad at it. But no one knows what that means, so everyone's just kind of like, oh, I don't want to be bad at this thing. And we're like, bad at what? And if someone were to ask anyone else in the department that question, like, well, what do you mean bad at it? They wouldn't be able to answer the question.
But like, isn't that perceived fear? Like, isn't that like, you know, like coming from like my perspective, like, you know, like a more clinical perspective, that perceived fear is just, you know, motivation. Cause like you're scared to, you know, to be bad. You're gonna ruminate about being bad, worry about being bad, and you're gonna work that much harder. So in hindsight, like when you're done, you're like, damn, like I'm actually really good at this, like, cause you're working hard, like you're not taking any breaks, you know. And you're like, oh, that wasn't that bad. It was all perception. It was all like fear, which isn't, you know, a real thing. You know, it's like just my own, you know, stress, my own anxiety.
Yeah, I hope I'll be able to adopt that perspective one day.
Like, you don't think you will? Like, you sound like very like, you know, like,
I mean, I'm gonna make it through the program, but I'm still scared.
yeah.
I allow myself to feel the emotions that I feel, and fear is one of those. I'm okay with it. I've made my peace with it. I'm not gonna say fear is a motivator for me. My optimism about coming through on the other side, more so, I think, is my motivation for me. So my first year, it was just constant. Go, 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 go. Get it done, get it done, get it done. But I didn't stop and breathe and think, okay, well, what happens if you don't get it done during this time frame? 9 times out of 10, absolutely nothing happens when you don't get it done in a certain time frame, especially in academia. So it's kind of like, well, it just didn't get done, and I'm kind of expecting myself to learn that more this year. Balancing my sanity with my work, and also being able to separate the two. I do think that there's a certain type of person in academia, and that type of person will also struggle with vulnerability to an unhealthy degree. A lot of people in academia are overachievers. A lot of people in academia, not to say that you have to be successful to be in academia, that's more to say most people who are here have an overachiever personality. And they compete for accolades and academic success even after they stop getting grades for their work. So yeah, I think that type of person struggles with vulnerability.
We were talking about that yesterday. You know, one of my classes. Like, how like we learn all these theories as like, you know, a clinician, future clinician. Like we learn these theories. We learn, you know, all these theory. We learn all these different theories. We learn like, you know, different case studies. We learn how to write all these different notes. But it's like, okay, like, where's the researcher? Where's the help for the helper? You know, like when the human being who is taking everybody's sanity, everybody's problems, everybody's issues, who's there to help them? We get supervision, but like, who's there?
The psychologist.
Yeah, who's there to help you? Like, who's there solely to be your helper? But even then, like, after you unwind and unload your load on the helper who's helping you, who's gonna help them? So it's like this funny thing. Like we could tell somebody how to, you know, stop smoking 10 cigarettes every hour, but we can't tell ourselves to stop reading, you know, for the next journal we're trying to write, or just to relax and sit back. You know, it's like this. It's this weird.
It's a weird cycle.
Yeah, this weird cycle, this weird unhealthy balance that we don't have. So like number 2 with you, like let's balance, you know. So yesterday in class, we were talking about. We were like first day of class, you know.
What class is this?
Stats.
Oh.
Yeah, stats, right? So we're in class. Everybody's talking about. We're going to do like introductions, like, hey, like my name is whatever. This is what I'm studying. Blah blah blah. You know. Then we go around. Get to me. It's like, yeah, like my name is, you know, Sahir. I'm here. This is what I'm doing. This is what I want to study. I was like, I want to study. You know, like I'm thinking about doing a dissertation on, you know, the effects, you know, of and correlation between PTSD in inner city youth and PTSD in youth within like war-torn refugee countries, you know, like, and see how they see the correlation, see how they play together, because at the end of the day, you know, a dead body is a dead body, you know. Seeing gun violence and being exposed to gun violence is the same thing. A war is a figure, you know, it's like a figure, you know. A war is battles, fighting, you know. A war is just very.
There are more definitions of war than we give credit for.
Yeah. So like, you know, and who's to say somebody, you know, in Syria or from Iraq or from like, you know, in African places that are warring, who says that what they're feeling and their trauma is any different than someone in inner cities such as like Chicago, places in New Jersey like Camden, Trenton, places like that where there's trouble, there's wars going on, you know, all that. So who's there to say that there's no difference?
You know, I really think you would like my trauma class that I'm taking this semester. I'm almost sad you're not taking it. Because we literally talked about that too. The professor was saying how, like, you know, when people talk about trauma, they only think about war refugees or, like, veterans. She's like, but there are so many different types of trauma that we don't account for that happen in everyday life. And she's like, you never know when you're going to experience trauma until you experience it. And so we need to start changing our perspective of what trauma is.
I'm thankful, you know, I have people like from work, just like from school, from like the grad, like my grad school, just like, and just people like old heads, yada yada, just give you wisdom, you know. And it's cool. I want to do that, you know. I want to be like, you know, that wise old head, like sit down, like, you know, come over here, you know, because like I don't know. Think about it. How many people you know that you've met in life that really offer you something that you would take with you, you know? It's far and few, but like the people who you meet is like it's lasting. It's like they leave like a real mark on your life.
Yeah, man. Yo, I look back on some professors, bro, and even though they didn't give me the grades I wanted, I learned from those professors so much more than what the grades could ever mean.
Facts.
Carolyn Darville, she was a professor. She's this British professor, teaches, you know, a couple of higher level biology classes, cell bio, endocrinology, whatever. And mind you, I got like a B and a C in those classes. You feel me? So I didn't do that good in those classes. But honestly, bro, like the way that like she taught me to think about the world, the conversations that I had with her, like about like what to do with my life when I, you know, move on, like the way that she like made me approach even the life sciences, like that meant so much more. Like that meant more like for my life than just a B or a C. Because at the end of the day, bro, like it's a B or a C. You know? But like for her to impact my life in that way, like yeah, man.
That's what matters, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, you can have all the money in the world, all the degrees in the world, but like you can't help somebody, like actually like touch somebody and just like make the world a better place one person at a time. Don't matter. Like
for you to be able to impact somebody's life is better than anything you can want.
Cause you could change, like, you know, you could change them, and like that little message is gonna change the next person.
I think like yo, people always overestimate too what you have to do. Like, you know, like again going back to that hadith about like, you know, prophetic saying about like, you know, guiding one person. Ultimately, bro, like you really just have to work in your little circle, in your little environment. Like, you don't have to like be Martin Luther King. If you can, that's amazing. You don't have to be Malcolm X, but if you can, that's amazing. But you know, if you can be Martin Luther King or Malcolm X for your circle of people, that's amazing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you can like change the lives of just a couple people around you, if you can make their lives better or inspire them to better things, you don't know what impact that could have.
You don't like if you set your mind to something, it might be hard. You might, you know, get taken around the world literally, but you always come back to what you're meant to do, like what you're supposed to be doing. And it's like, bro, like everything I've done, you know, boxing, like school, whatever. I always wanted to help. I always wanted to, you know, be in a position, you know, to be heard, for people to listen to me. Not to, you know, not because I want to be like, oh, tough guy, like, because I want to, you know, I want to be in a position for people to listen to me and like actually hear my words, you know, because anybody can listen, but like hearing your words and like hearing like you speak and hearing your message is totally different. What advice would you give, you know, like, and like say somebody, you know, here's a question: what advice would you give yourself?
I think I would say your only competition is yourself, and stop competing with yourself so much. So no one in your department is going to sign your degree other than your advisor and the chair of the department. That's not to say you need to kiss up to them. That's to say everyone else is white noise and background information. That means you determine your pace, you determine what kind of research you're going to do, grand scheme, and you determine what kind of researcher you are. And you determine what you want to get out of your PhD, what you want to get out of your classes. I would also say remember that, well, maybe I'm only speaking to first year Vanessa in this case, but I guess to myself I would say, you know, remember that you sought out a PhD because you enjoy gaining knowledge, and don't lose sight of that.
Bro, honestly, just don't give up. Don't give up. Yo, it's crazy how many people will tell you like. It's really crazy how many people will tell you you can't do it.
Yo,
So
bro.
many will tell you you can't do it.
Bruh.
So many, bro. Like, I'm not even kidding you when I say this, that 99% of the people or things or like pieces of information that you meet will tell you what you're doing doesn't make sense. Go back.
Don't give up. Ever. Because if you give up, you're never going to know. Like, if you give up, you're never going to, you never would know, like, if you were able to do it, if you were good enough. Like, I wish I could tell myself that, like 5 years ago, like, yo, just grind, like, don't quit. Literally, don't quit because you could do it. Like, you are good enough. Like, what anybody ever says about you, you are good enough. You can do it. Believe in yourself because nobody will. Just be a beautiful person.
Yeah.
Like, just help people. Just try to make the next person smile. Normal life, like normal life is so hard for some people. Some just normal things. I feel like getting out of bed for somebody else could be like a struggle. Whereas for me, I just hop out of bed. So, I just want to help people get past that, that block in their head, like that blockade in their own mind. Just so they can know that anything they could do, anything's possible. Like,
for real.
Like
For sure.
it's just because like mental, like how do I put it? The mental muscle, the brain, man, is beautiful. Like.
It really is, man.
Thank you for tuning into the Community Corner podcast. We hope you enjoyed our story, and we can't wait to share it with you next time. And that's a wrap!